Welcome, Bookmark. Welcome to Gurukula. My name is Nunki Unipingo. I am a Gumatj elder, and you are here with me on Gumatj land. As a Gumatj elder, I wish to formally welcome you to Gurukula. Thank you for being here with us. Please enjoy the stay. And just that if you didn't know or don't know, the V and the number back of the dances, that is just to support our brother back, Adam Goods. Thank you.
Thank you, Nonki. Thank you, Palo Palo Kayawaring. Thank you, Bookmark family. Thank you, Urman, Wako, Kalarwe. And thank you to all our elders for staying strong and being with us. And also a very warm welcome to our guests and friends. Shortly, we will all walk together to the Bungle ground following our ceremonial leaders and Aboriginal leaders from all over Australia, who share heritage, land, songlines, and pride in who we are. The Dalawango and Gumatj clans will lead us, and at the Bungle ground, we will raise our flags. The Northern Territory flag, the Australian flag, and the Aboriginal flags of our people. Over the next few days, we will get to know each other, find great ways to work together, and to make our great country even greater. Tomorrow, we will start the hard work of discussion and debate in our key forum, but for now, enjoy the world around us here at this beautiful place, Gurukula. Please take care and look after yourselves. Drink lots of water, eat well, and walk carefully in the evening and at night. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Jawa Yunupingu, who will make a special announcement on behalf of the Gumatj clan. Please welcome Jawa.
Thank you, Martley. Thank you, Bookmark. Today is a very important day for young people who live at Gunyangara. In 1991, my brother Kalaroi, Yunupingu led his family from Yirkala to Gumatj homeland, known as Gunyangara. Gunyangara is a very special place, Amangara, where Gumatj people lived and traded with the Macassans for centuries. It was a big decision, as we loved Yirkala, and we still do. But Kalaru understood that our greatest strength would be shown from living as a unified clan on our own country at Gunyangara. We had a single caravan and some tents. We cut the trees and cleared the ground ourselves. We drew our water from an old army quarry and bathed in that quarry. We fished and hunted on our land and started to build our home. Today, over 200 people live at Gunyangara, and it is a hub of life and activity. There is no other town like it in Australia. Kalaroi, Palo Palo, Nunki, Tundana, Pinmila, Kapiti, and many other young leaders all live on our township at Gunyangara. And from that, we all draw great strength. Today, we have taken another step in anchoring our future at Gunyangara. We have leases over our offices, our houses, our workshops, our store, our school, the barge landing and the nursery. We employ over 50 people out of our businesses at Gunyangara. And our children go to school at Gunyangara or at Nhulunbuy, or in Sydney or in Melbourne. Our attendance at school is about 75% and rising. And we are committed to our children having a future with Yolngu hearts, but with minds that can master English and the business of the world. As our father Munguro told us, look up to the future. So we, Gumatj, have two sayings. Anchor our future and look up to the future. And these sayings have very deep meaning for us. Now we have taken a step to secure our town, Gunyangara, through a town list that will be controlled by our people. Next month we will start formal discussions with the Northern Land Council and the Commonwealth to make this a reality. Before Galarrwuy signs with the Minister, we the Gumatj people wish to thank Nigel Scullion for listening to Yolngu people and making this real. I also want to thank the Chairman of the Northern Land Council, Samuel Bush-Blanazi, and the executive members, and their CEO, Joe Morrison, who are all close friends and colleagues of ours. The NLC and its executive are working with us to make the Land Rights Act powerful for our future. I also wish to thank my family, Palapala Nunki, Daniel, Gapiri, and Binmala, who work so hard every day, and to our old people who have guided us from the beginning. Lastly, I honor my Wawa, Dr. Yunupingu, and my Yapa, our elder sister, and Uncle Joe, who all passed away recently, and all our brothers and sisters who have passed away at Gunyangara. These people were with us when times were tough, and who we will always honor and love them. And to Galarrwuy, who has led us from the start, thank you, Wawa. Thank you, Bookman.
I would now like to introduce Nigel Scullion, the Federal Minister for Indigenous Affairs.
Galarrwuy Yunupingu, Papaji, Yonol Elders, Directors of the Yothu Yindi Foundation, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for your kind words, Joa. And can I also say thank you everybody who's come to Garma, which it's people who make the difference here, and it's just tremendous that you've made the difference. Can I also start by paying my respects to the elders past and present, as I pay my respects to the Gumatj traditional owners and custodians on the land on which we meet. Can I just say briefly to the dancers, what a wonderful bungle that was, and it was just tremendous to see the support given to our mate Goodsy. He really needs the support. And it is a great privilege when you come to Garma. People go away from Garma with different views and different things that have happened to you at Garma, and I think things happen to you here. It's invariably epiphanies about how ignorant you may have been in the past, but it is very special for the Gumatj clan to share such a bungle with us, so thank you. So today we are witness to some of these great leaps forward in the relationship between Gumatj and Yolngu people. They are actually setting up a great future in areas that count the most. Education, cultural learning exchange, Indigenous-led development. What they've always talked about, they've always driven, building the independence of communities and self-reliance of individuals. That has been a long-held and hard-fought-for dream of Gumatj leaders. Now, it is parallel with what Parliament requires, and I think parliaments right across Australia and the Australians more generally think that that's that's a good thing to achieve. A parallel view and a parallel way forward. But what we all have to learn in government, to have the same view doesn't mean just hanging on to the view that you had and hoping for the best. It does mean listening, sharing, spending time, respecting that the relationships are not starting from the same place, and most of all, listening with respect. So we've been facilitating as best we can Indigenous responsibility in as many ways, and I've got a few things to say later on this evening. But for now, I'd like to celebrate the commitment and innovation of the Gumatj in negotiating this Memorandum of Understanding for a township lease at Gunyara. The Gumatj have wanted a community entity since a long time ago, and so I can recall since the 2007 there was an MOU. It probably didn't reflect what we've done today, and I think that's a reflection of much better understanding the risks, the concerns, and how we ameliorate that in words that are not Yunal words or Gumatj words, but they are Ballina, but they are much more clearly understood. So the MOU provides for a lease model that I think strikes the right balance. It doesn't really matter what I reckon actually. The traditional owners and the community thinks that it strikes the right balance in decision making and effective land tenure arrangements that are going to support economic development and everything that really means. Everything that really means. Opportunities for the kids who live in Gunyara to have the opportunities to have a job the same way that anyone else would have a job and the expectation of a job around the country. All these little things are translations of this notion of economic development, but they are held as strongly in the hearts of Aboriginal people in this part of the world as they are anywhere in Australia and in fact in any part of the world. When they talk to me, and they talk to me strongly about this, it's always in the context of their children and what sort of a legacy is this change going to leave. And I think that is the epitome of leadership. Again, congratulations to the elders of the Gumatj. So this provides for a 99-year lease with subleases which can provide bankable interest in land. The head lease will provide for a mix of housing options so that residents actually have the option to buy their own home in the future if that's what they want. So the progress towards a community entity township lease in Gunyara is groundbreaking, and I think it's something that the Gumatj should be very proud of. And can I say it came about here because they said, look Nige, you're talking about a township leaf with Gumbalanya, it's having some problems. We actually think that we've got the solution. So we've sat down and we listened very carefully to what I think is the most elegant solution. There were several parts of the original proposed township lease that didn't provide the cultural confidence that was needed to ensure that they had access in the right cultural way to the thing that they have and have always owned and have fought so hard to protect, and that is, of course, their land. And so it was the case that we listened carefully, and when we actually started listening, we realised that the solution to many of the challenges that we have across probably government, let alone Indigenous affairs, are right at hand if we change the way that we do business. And we actually sit down with people and listen to what their solutions might be, not just simply recognise that they have a different view and move on. So my great congratulations to the clear thinkers, the great intellect of the Gumatj Nation, who quite a complex, this is a very complex area. We have to hire mobs of really flash lawyers and all that sort of stuff. But it was the actual leaders who decided what they were motivated by the change, what the currency that they would negotiate in and what they wouldn't, what they wanted to end up, what it would sort of look like, and they brought that to me and said, well, how can we talk about this, Nigel? What sort of ways can we go about it? And I have to say it didn't require many changes because it was a very elegant solution to what up to then had been a complex problem. So I think it's fantastic, but we need to recognise that whilst in some ways it might be a model to move further ahead in other communities their perception and their culture may be different. We need to recognise the flexibility that we need to take in our approach to these negotiations. It might be right with Gumatj, and that is their business. But we need to perhaps take the framework as an example of what might need to be done and I'm quite sure that those other communities, if that's what they wish, will embrace it or provide their own solutions. Joa, you are right that it's good that we're listening to your aspirations, and I think that the significant change in the relationship, we sit down a lot more, and I think we sit down a lot more because government very much and Parliament very much values and acknowledges the input and the solutions that Gumatj and Aboriginal people more broadly can provide. With the signing of this MOU, clearly, yes, they are leading the way. Yolngu culture has taught its people how to learn, how to change, how to survive, but remain rooted in tradition and in culture. It teaches through systems and through kinship to approach things through logic, and frankly a logic that has escaped me for a while. I get an education every day when I'm dealing with Aboriginal people, but to understand when they're talking about talking things through to gain a better understanding, there is actually a process where you've sort of, there's a minimum amount of time you can spend, and then if you spend less than that, you won't get an outcome. The sort of things we all take for granted, but when they're rooted in culture, and they're saying these are the amount of time we're going to need to put aside, and these are the resources we need to put aside, it's certainly been a much better understanding. And I guess this is what Garma's all about. So, for the Yolngu, congratulations. It's been a fantastic outcome. For the rest of us, as together we strengthen and build for the future, and together we want to honour the best of the past, I'm very pleased now, absolutely delighted, to sign an agreement that is entirely the work of Gumatj. Thank you.